Doing out there? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're at. Those of you on Spotify, Apple, Megaphone, thank you very much for joining us today. We're out on a boat fishing today. So if our feed goes wrong or something, I apologize. But we are out fishing right now. We have three skipjack, two Dorado, and a marlin on the boat. We've been out here for almost 4 hours. And that's why we went a little bit late. We were right in the middle of capturing our striped marlin, and now we're processing it for food so we can take it home and eat it. Because you know what marlin tastes like? They taste just like fish. Every single marlin we've ever eaten, right, Cub? Yeah. There's the world famous Kevin Cubby Paul at the wheel. We're out here fishing. Yep, there he is. Those of you that are wondering what he's doing, there's Kev. We're out here on the boat doing live from the water. Thank you, Elon Musk. And we're hoping that this goes good and smooth and everybody gets to see what we're doing out here. But we are actually in the act of fishing right now. We got 6 lures out behind the boat. And so far, the lures that Kevin's deckhand, Tony Baloney's put out, they seem to be working. We're not washing lures today. We're actually catching fish. It's pretty amazing. It's like we said yesterday, though. Remember, everything matters. So when we left this morning, we had a really good plan. Kevin put together a great game plan. We went right out to where the skipjack were, caught some of those right away, no boats. Then we went to the marlin zone. Right when we got there, we caught our striped marlin, and now we're working our way back in towards the beach where our friend Jeff told us there was some Dorado yesterday, and we've already caught 2 Dorados. So this trip's been made. Although I told Kevin I needed to be at the dock at noon for all of you, so he kind of blew that. You didn't get me. Our 3-hour trip didn't work out. We're probably going to be out here for 5 hours, 5.5 hours. Kind of a long, long day for Kevin and I. But just letting you know what's going on, I want to thank each and every one of you for all the stars you gave us yesterday on this podcast. Absolutely unbelievable. Mike Lewis, thanks for letting everybody know to leave the stars. I appreciate that. And no Kelly today. Kelly's at home. Marley is still sick. We don't know what's wrong with Marley. He's still sick. So she's at home taking care of the monk. And Kevin and I are out here fishing with his boss. And look at, he's fishing really hard. That is the true definition of a hardcore fisherman. Look at that. See him there? He's fishing hard. There's not a better podcast on the there. I don't think there's anybody that does a live podcast from the wheelhouse of the boat that they're actually fishing on. Here, let me show you. We are, if you don't believe me, we are really fishing. The dragging lures right now. You can hear the motor. We're out here. There he is, the world famous Kevin Cubby Paul, winner of the Bisbees. Yep. He's one of the very few captains that have ever won the Bisbees. There he is. But gang, we're out here on the water. Find another podcast that does it live from out on the water. Today we're going to be talking more about tips for fishing and how important it is to make sure that you pay attention all the time. Yep, we got a bait tank full of caballitos. The water down here, if you can believe this, gang, it's already 80 degrees. That's unheard of. Kevin's been fishing down here for 30 years, full time. He's a year-rounder. Somebody's asking, Cubby, how you feeling?
Well, I feel all right.
He's feeling great.
Yeah.
He's catching fish. He's running his yacht down here in Cabo. He feels great.
Grateful to be alive.
Roger Dodger, gang. Gang, we're back. Sorry about that. I accidentally dropped the computer on the hotspot. My fault. I apologize. Thanks for hanging in there. We actually gained audience while you were waiting for us to jump back on, so that's a good thing. Life doesn't get any better. But yeah, Kevin Cubby Paul is actually feeling good. He's out here fishing today. It's an amazing day out here on the water. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's about 90 degrees outside, and the water's 80 degrees, and there's everything biting already down here in Cabo, which bodes very well for those of you up there in Southern California. Talking to some of the gurus of fishing, the IGFA Hall of Fame guys like Pete Grossbeck, telling me that we're in store for what he believes to be another phenomenal El Nino to come rolling into Southern California. So that being said, I think it's going to be super important for all of you to pay attention to what's going on and to make sure that when you go out fishing on your private boat, you have a plan. You have a game plan and you go out and you execute your plan to the best of your abilities. That being said, I don't know anywhere else where you can get an actual game plan to go fishing on your private boat. So I think you need to jump on my website right there's the QR code. Jump in there and there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Richard. That's the reason why we're here today, because of that young feller. He's got us out here on his beautiful yacht fishing today, and we are having a ball. Richard's caught so many fish, it's incredible. But we're very, very lucky that. Are you? Oh, now I'm getting charged rent. You guys better jump on my website. You better jump on there. I'm going to need you. And make sure you leave some stars. Now that the boss knows what we're doing here. So listen, gang. What I want to tell you, gang, is that it is super important, like we talked about yesterday, that everything matters and that you pay attention to every single thing. Like today, we're out here, and Kev saw in the binoculars, he saw a little break outside of us about 3 miles. We drove out there to that little break, and that's where we caught our marlin. He was just sleeping right on that break. We show you what the breaks are. We show you everything you need to be successful when you're on our website. But what I promise you is most people, when they jump over onto my website, they're like, Cap Dave, I only want the game plans and the hotspots. I don't need any of the other stuff. I already know how to do everything better than anybody. Gang, if you don't know the proper fundamentals of fishing in Southern California, Mexico, Florida, the Bahamas, Hawaii, if you don't know the fundamentals, then all the GPS numbers in the world are not going to help you. That's why I have over 400 videos on my website. Plus, we put this podcast up every day on the website, so you never miss anything. And then we put the podcast up on Apple, Spotify, and Megaphone, so you never miss a thing. You're constantly connected with me. I don't know any other web. Now, there are a lot of websites out there, and there's a lot of people that are putting out some pretty cool content. But pick up the telephone and try to get a hold of one of them, or watch their live podcast Monday through Friday. Let me know who they are, because I think it falls off dramatically right after Your Saltwater Guide. I could be wrong. And I hear people out there saying, well, Your Saltwater Guide's only for beginners. I'm an expert. I don't really need that. Really? So what do you do for a living? Probably doesn't allow you to be out on the water every single day. My members, somebody in the group is out fishing today. I guarantee you somebody in our 4,000 member group is out on the water today. They're going to leave a report this afternoon on the community. Plus, we know a couple of sport boat captains that are more than happy to share their information with us. And all the other things that I've learned over the 48 years of fishing for a living, like how to read the charts and how to read the chlorophyll and how to read the moon phases and the tides, I got a pretty good idea of how to put you in a zone where you can actually catch some fish. And all that is by what we were talking about yesterday, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Which if you try to figure it out on your own, like some of the superstars of Instagram or TikTok always say, oh, just don't worry about signing up to someone's website. Go out there and figure it out on your own like I had to. Well, that person, like I always say, is lying. They didn't figure anything out on their own. People like Kevin Cubby Paul and Pete Grossbeck, Steve Lasley and Todd Manzer and Billy Miyagawa, those guys figured it out long before you got there and kind of passed on some of their information to you so you could be successful when you went. Those are the things I'm talking about when I'm talking about how important it is to pay attention to every piece of the puzzle out here on the water and understand all the different variances of what is going on the water, the current breaks, the water color, the clarity of the water, the current, where you're going to go, the weather. Today, the weather is a big factor because there's a lot of wind on the outside here, so it makes it not comfortable for Kevin's boss and his girlfriend that are out fishing with us today. So Kevin put together the best game plan he could put together with looking at the weather and fishing the edge of that wind line. So he didn't actually get the boat out into the gnarly weather where we had a chance to get the boss's girlfriend seasick. We stayed on the inside of that, and then he looked at the chlorophyll chart and he was able to tell where the cleaner water was and the temperature where that was. Put all those pieces of the puzzle together, and then we actually stumbled into some fish. I mean, most people would be pretty happy with a day like we've already had. And for the last 3.5 hours, we've been out fishing 2 Dorado, a striped marlin, and 3 skipjack. That's a pretty phenomenal day. And with the limited area to fish in, with the chance of the boss's girlfriend getting seasick, so that's what I mean by paying attention to every single thing and paying attention to your passengers. I was talking to one of our members yesterday after the podcast, and we were talking about taking his children and his wife fishing with him on his boat because he bought the boat and he wants to take the family out fishing. And he already blew it once by going out there with his granddaughter and getting her seasick. Now she doesn't want to get on the boat anymore. Like I try to tell you on all those kid taking children fishing videos that I make and that I have available for you on my website, you have to pay attention to everything. Weather is a giant factor, and once you blow it with your children or your grandchildren, no matter what, wahoo can be biting at the bait barge. They're not going to get on the boat and go fishing with you because you blew it. Don't blow it. From this point forward, don't blow it. I know you all want a 200 to 300 pound bluefin. I know that's the only thing that gets people excited now in Southern California. There's so much other stuff to catch that you're missing out on. And over at Your Saltwater Guy, we give you all the spots that you need to be successful, and the game plans, we give you those so that when you go out on your boat, you don't have to go out fishing for boats, which is pretty important because the last thing you want to do when you go out fishing is spend the day fishing for boats.
I want to go calico fishing.
Calico. Yeah, you want to go calico fishing. You want to go sea bass fishing. You want to go rockfish fishing. You want to go halibut fishing. You want to do all those things that you read about. But if only you want to catch giant bluefin, well, we have you covered there too. We show you how to fish the Mad Mac. We show you how to fish the kite. Show you how to rig your flying fish. Show you what proper ways to troll your kite, how to rig your kite. We got you covered on everything that you need from calico bass fishing to giant bluefin fishing. But you got to have a plan. If your plan is to get out on the water and find out where all the boats are, that's not a very good plan. You want to try to get away from all the boats and get out to where the fish are. And how can you do that better? How can that be easier? Learn how to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Go back and look at some of the old game plans that I have and start to understand how I put the game plan together. Look at the weather on that day. Look at the tide on that day. Look at what was going on that day. And then look at the fish counts and look at what our members caught and look at what they did. And then that'll help you to start to put the puzzle together on your own and start to understand more about what's going on out on the water. Another thing that's kind of crucial is your bait and your bait system on your boat. The reason I bring this up is because about an hour ago I was talking to a new member and we were talking about, this is what he asked me, do you ever think that the bait company is going to ever catch real live bait, or is it always going to be dead when we go and buy it? And I said, hey, wait a minute. The bait companies along the Southern California coast have the most phenomenal bait you could ever want. I said, let's talk about your bait tank. And we started to delve into his bait tank and started to find out that his bait tank is the problem, not the bait. He thought it was the bait itself. We found out it was his bait tank, the way the water flows into the top and flows back out the top. Therefore, any water an inch below the surface is not circulating. So it's not getting, the bait doesn't have a chance to breathe. The bait, first of all, gang, if there's a bunch of bubbles in your bait tank, that kills your bait right away because it clogs up the fish, the anchovies or sardines gills, and that will kill your bait. Air will kill your bait. So it's not an aquarium. You don't want it to have an aerator in it. You want the water to flow. The whole bait tank from the top to the bottom has to change water every 8 minutes. Somewhere between 7 and 8 minutes is the perfect time for your bait tank to fill up. Put the plug in your bait tank, flick the bait switch on, and it needs to fill up from the bottom to the top and dump out on the top. If it fills up from the top and dumps out on the top, then none of the water in the middle or the bottom is changing at all. So there's no oxygen moving around in it. There's nothing happening. You need that bait tank to be constantly flowing top to bottom. So that is super important that that bait tank flows. It's got to flow. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm not worried about any other website. I don't care. I try to help everybody. I try to help every single, like they were just on. I have nothing but great things to say about them. There is nothing wrong with their service. It's a great service. Billy Kay's got a great service. Fish Dope's got a great service. I put together all the information I could possibly put together before I leave the dock. I check everywhere. I check Fish Dope. I check Captain's Concept. I check Billy Kay. I check everywhere to get the best plan I could possibly get to put together so that you guys will have the best chance of catching fish when you go fishing. I don't have anything bad to say about anybody else's website, but I know that none of them compare to my website. Your Saltwater Guide, go on any other website and call the owner. Let me know. Does the owner post his phone number on all the videos? Does the owner answer every one of your calls? I don't think so. I answer everybody's calls. I talk to everybody that's a member of my website. I even talk to the people that aren't a member. And by the time I'm done talking to them, they become a member. The only people that aren't members are people that have never gone on the website and checked it out. They listen to their booger eating buddy, and they're like, "Whoa, that Captain Dave, he's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about." I only been doing this for a living for 48 years. My father's been in this industry since 19. Oh yeah, don't forget to check out Tino on Friday. We'll have Tito Ortiz on the show on Friday. It should be a phenomenal show. It's going to be fun talking to Tito. I watched him for a long time inside the octagon, and then I watched him for a long time when he was out fishing on his boat out of Huntington Harbor. Now he's down in Florida. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be fun to check out Tino and hear what he's up to and what he's doing. I hear he's opening a new restaurant. All that stuff's going to be cool to have him on the show talking to you. And gang, all I can tell you is you want as much information as you can have when you go out fishing on your private boat. It's imperative. Or when you go out fishing on a charter boat or an open party boat, you want as much information as you can so that your day on the water will be super duper successful. So you want to make sure that wherever you're getting your information from, it's current and relative to what you're trying to accomplish. If there's somebody out there that's giving you information that's going to look at that. Thank you, Elliot. Thanks for jumping in and helping me today. I'm out here on the water doing the best I can, gang. I lost the feed for a minute, but that was my fault. It wasn't anything else's fault. But look it, we have a guide to fishing all the different spots in from the Channel Islands down to the Mexican border, even a little bit into the Coronado areas and a little bit below that. We kind of try to cover anywhere I think that you might go fishing on your private boat. not only do I give you the GPS numbers, which are, if you only have GPS numbers, they're kind of worthless. What I do is I teach you how to fish each and every spot with over 1,100 GPS numbers, which are great to have them. But then I break it down on each video and teach you how to fish each and every one of those 1,100 spots, because I had the opportunity to fish every one of those spots. Now, a lot of the people that go on the website only need one little area. That's where they fish out of. We got your area covered. We cover all the areas from the Channel Islands down to the Mexican border. I know you all don't need that. I know you just need your area. Well, I got your area covered. And then what I do on top of that is on every Thursday, I put out a game plan so that when you go out fishing on your private boat on the weekend, because most people have to work on the weekends. I mean, during the week, Monday through Friday, you have to work. So on Thursdays, we put together this phenomenal game plan. We start at the Channel Islands, we end down at the Coronado Islands. If there's anything happening at any of the other islands, we cover those. And we break it up into parts. Like this last week, there was 7 parts. There they are. And I break down the California coast into a library. And we also cover the offshore area. And I try to make it so that when you go out fishing on your private boat, you have a plan. Now, these game plans and these hot spots will not help you when you're out on a charter boat or out on a sport boat. I understand that. But the basics, like we talked about earlier on this podcast, going through the basics of fundamentals of fishing are going to help you out tremendously. If you go over to our community, which is the safest community ever built for fishermen in Southern California, when you're on our community, you get to see what members are doing when they're out on their private boat. And then they're posting on the community what they're catching, where they're catching it out, and how they're catching. If you were to dig in, one of our members, Tony, went out fishing on the Polaris Supreme with my good friend Aliar, and he followed the plan on how to fish the flat fall Carnata jig or the knife jig. I think he fished the Carnata jig by Fish Labs, and he had a phenomenal time. He caught his limit of tuna, plus he handed off 7 more bluefin to make 7 other people's days. But he just stuck with how to fish the lure the proper way, went out there and executed it, and was able to put together a phenomenal trip. Here's our, this is the meat and potatoes of the website, gang. These reports are made by members. They're not made by me. These are made by members. They're posting these every single day. And they're not only bragging about what they caught, but they're helping to teach you what they did. They went out, they executed the game plan, they followed our simple recipe of how to catch fish on their private boat, and they went out and they did it, and they had the best time they could possibly have on their private boat. There is nothing out there. I've been on all the websites. I've been on everything. There's nothing out there with a community built like mine, which isn't even my community. This is your community. All the members are on here sharing. And the one thing I can promise you is there's zero negativity. No one's allowed to call you out for asking a simply question. You're not called a bunch of names. There's not a bunch of guys sitting around in their underpants in their mom's closet posting on here. There's not a lot of there's no trolls. There's nobody posting garbage on here. Elliot and I keep a very close watch on the community and make sure that it's always a positive area for you to share what you're doing. Also, it's a great area for you to gather information when you're going fishing on your private boat. People jump on the community. John, there's a great picture of John with the beautiful t-shirt on. Look at that shirt. Gang, you can jump over to our store and get any of our swag you want too. We have a beautiful store. But Elliot's showing you the community, because the community, like I try to tell everybody, okay, look at the store. We have some pretty cool clothes, some pretty cool hats, coffee cups, sweatshirts. We got you covered with all the Captain Dave sayings. Your sister's brother's aunt's cousin. Don't fish for boats. All the cool sayings I say all the time. They're available at the store. And then one thing I can promise you on my website, gang, is you're never going to get any garbage. You're only going to get real stuff that pertains to really what's going on every single day. It's the real deal. There's a lot of websites out there, and I support every one of them. I'm not trying to tell you not to become a member of any of the other websites, because they all have a purpose and they all have a function. And it's just like the tools that you have in your toolbox if you're a carpenter, or it's like the lures and the feathers and all the line and fluorocarbon and everything you have in your tackle box. All these websites that are giving you information to be more successful when you go out fishing on your private boat, they're all important, especially with the price of fuel today and the price of bait and tackle and rods and reels. Nothing's going down. Everything's going up. So you might as well get as much information as you can. My website's $9.99 a month for your membership, which allows you to go in here and look at all the cool things from all the members. It allows you to go in here and look at all the podcasts we do every single day, so you don't have to go search through Apple or iPhone, which are great places, don't get me wrong. But once you're on those things and then you're like searching, hey, what was that one that Dave did about taking kids fishing? You can jump on our website and go straight to it, type in taking kids fishing, and wham, you're right there on the podcast when I talked about taking kids fishing. These are all the things that I think separate us from everything else out there, but I would never say anything negative about anybody else's website. I am positive, 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 and this is a great thing to be involved with as far as wanting to stay connected to the fishing community in a positive way without any negativity. That's a cool thing, because you can go on all the other social media platforms and you can get just railed by negativity, except when you come over here. We totally protect you. There'll be no negative thoughts or texts. You get to hear great interviews from people like Luke, myself, Pete Gray from Let's Talk Hookup, Michael Folks from Inside Sport Fishing, the War Heroes on Water guys. There's so much cool stuff. If you haven't gone in there and looked around, or if you're afraid, I don't know, Dave, I'm afraid to go over there. They're going to steal my credit card. Gang, you don't have to go in there and put in your credit card. Here's what you do. Call me at 949-374-0786. I own the website. Kelly and I own it to the center of the earth. There is no one else. Elliot makes sure that it runs smooth and everything you need is there for you, but Elliot works for us. Elliot's not going to grab your credit card number and go buy a couch for Erica. We're not those people. You're going to call me up. I'm going to give you access to the website, and then if you fall in love with it, like I'm sure you will, then you can actually Venmo me or Zelle me some money, and you never have to give me your credit card. But one thing I cannot do is I cannot make you call me. Don't send me an email, because then you don't answer the emails, and then 6 months go by and you go, remember that email I sent you 6 months ago? Gang, my phone rings off the hook all the time. I talk to everybody. If you call me and tell me you want to go look at the website for free and you don't want to put in your credit card, call me up. I'll open it up for you. I will need your email, though, because Kevin, Cubby, Paul, and I have figured out how to sell emails. No, I'm just kidding. We're out here fishing in Cabo. This is where we are right now. We're out here fishing, doing a live podcast. Oh, I'm sure all the other websites you look at do this. There's Kev driving from the wheel. Look at Kev. Woohoo! There he is.
It's time for a walk.
Do you think this website's the website you should be involved in? It might be. Gang, it might just be. I don't know. I'm not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do. But it is free to take a look, gang. I promise you it's free. It's free. And then grab some swag. Grab some of our bitchin' clothes. Go to my website. Check it out. Grab that QR code that Elliot just flashed up on the right there. Grab the QR code. Go check out our store. And don't forget, you can call me at 949-374-0786. 0786. I'll answer your call. I'll give you a free look at the website. Can't get any better than that. Get a free look at a website that'll absolutely change what you catch. Plus, let's just say you know exactly what you're doing all the time, but we're fishermen. We like to post what we're catching. We like to share what we're doing on the water. I know what it's like on some of those other places to share what you're doing. And I know the negativity that thrives on those other sites. If you want to just have a nice, comfortable community where you can post stuff, share your information with people, go to my website, yoursaltwaterguide.com. Gang, I'm going to log off of here because we're trying to catch a fish and we're working really hard. And we will be back with you tomorrow live, and Kelly Girl will be joining us for Ask Kelly Questions. And thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast from out here in this horrible area that we're out fishing on this horrible yacht with this horrible captain. There he is. Say goodbye to Cubby. All right. Bye, Kev. Bye. All right, Elliot. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.